So in last class, we have discussed the preliminaries ideas about the C language. So we have discussed uh, different programming steps or coding steps. Then we also uh, try to understand what are the structured programming language, and in case of structured programming language, what are the different steps we can follow. In case of C language, we can follow sequential, selective, repetitive, and then we have we have taken one single problem, that is area of a circle, how to measure the area of a circle. For that, we have uh, tried to write a code uh, with main function. Then we have discussed what is the purpose of main function, how main function will call different functions. Uh, Basically, there are two types of functions. One is called user-defined function, and another is library function or C function. Then, what are the different components of a function? It is the definition or declaration of the function, then the function calling, and there is one optional part, prototype. Then we have discussed how to take input, how to how to print output. So we have just gone through all those things, which are very important to write a means to start your C programming. Now, so today we will start with again a simple C program. So we start with this thing, hash include stdio.h, okay, then int main. Then in some books, here the arguments are written as void, but remember, main don't take void argument, it will take two arguments. I will discuss about that. And then a simple printf statement, and that is hello RCC IT. So this is a simple program. Okay. Now, today we will discuss what are the different, means what are the meaning of this hash include, and what is the meaning of int main, the printf. We will discuss all about this. So before that, what we will do, we will save this. So after opening any editor, whether it is Windows based or in Unix or Linux based, you have to write a code in your editor. So this is your, you can say, source code program. So you have to save it with .c extension. So suppose it is ab.c. The name of the file is ab and the extension .c stands for, it is a C code. Okay, so this is a source code. So the first thing that we have to do, we have to compile it, because C is a compiler based programming language. So here we have to use compiler. Okay, and when we compile this, it will create some I have already discussed in the last class that there are basically three types of languages. Okay, there are basically three types of languages. One is called high level, which is more closer to the user. Okay, and there is one low level, which is closer to the machine, sometimes called machine level language, and there is one intermediate language, and which is sometimes called assembly level language. Okay, so this is intermediate, which is not close to her. So a simple example, high level, just like this, a plus b, this is high level. And in low level, it may be like this, 0, 0, 1, 1, then 1101, 1111. So this is in low level, purely in binary form. And in the middle level, in assembly level, it will be written like this: add A comma B. So this is in high level, this is in assembly level, and this is in low level. Okay. So compiler will generally create. This is means not purely machine level language, but it is almost like some intermediate, not purely machine level. It will create some intermediate language, and in case of C, the file, if it is in Windows environment, then it will called ab.obj object code. If it is in Unix environment, then it will be ab.o. Okay, and then if you the next step is you will run it. So after this, there will be some linking part. Linking means I'm coming to that linking part, and after linking, it will execute, means it will create some exe file. In case of Windows, it is called exe. In case of Unix, it is called a.out. So I hope you can remember GCC file name for Unix, and in case of Windows, it is button, means user interface based, so you have to click the button to compile and run. So this is the different steps. Now what do you mean by linking? See, there are some functions which are user defined, such like main function, and there are some functions which are not user defined, which are library. We are discussing about this thing, that so there are some functions which are user defined, just like main function. There are some functions which are library function or C function printf. So it means whenever we are compiling these things will be compiled separately. So suppose there are one printf, there is another scanf function. So this printf, scanf, these functions will be compiled separately. This is printf, this is scanf, they are compiled separately, and there is a main function also. Okay, correct? Now these three things will be linked together to create the executable file. These three functions, suppose in a function, in your main function, there are three different functions, then these three things will be linked together. Now this is the task of a linker. So linker will perform these things. How linker will perform these things? This different parts will be separately compiled and stored in memory in separate positions. Then what linker will do? Linker will put them in sequential order, one after another. Okay, this is the task of a linker. So linker is creating the linking between different functions, because these are, some functions are user defined, some functions are library. So finally you have to link them together to compile your, or to make a executable file. That's why after this compilation, when you are going to run the program to create the exe file, it will, before the creation of exe file, it will link all the different functions to make a complete program. That is the part of a linker. So that's why we, after this compilation, we generally write this linking part. Okay. Then finally the execution. Uh, so now what is the meaning of this lines in your C program? So we have started with ab.c. This is our C file that we have created, and remember, it will create, normally in case of Windows, it will create one file ab.obj object file. It will create one ab.bak backup file, and finally it will create ab.exe. Remember this. So in case of Windows, if we use C compiler, just like Turbo C compiler, it will create, for a single C program, it will create 4 different files. One is the file itself, the C code itself. Another is after compilation the object file. It will create one backup file .bak. It will create finally the exe file. Okay. In case of Unix, it is a little different. What happened in case of Unix, it will create one ab.o and then finally it will create a.out. Okay, but when so this ab.o is one kind of temporary file. This is one kind of temporary file. So in case of Unix and in other different operating system also, this temporary files sometimes may be deleted. So finally you will get one ab.c and one ab.out, no other files. So these are the different files that will be created for a single C program. Okay. Now I will discuss what are the different things we have written in this simple C program, which will print something in the screen, and the output of this program will be hello RCC IIT. So this is the output. Now, what is the meaning of this? This is called hash, and we are including the standard input output header file. Now, this hash is called preprocessor. This is called preprocessor. Now, you can understand it is preprocessor means before processing all the things, it will be processed. So that's why it is called preprocessor. So this hash symbol is used as a preprocessor. Okay. Then the include means we are including what we are including. We are including stdio.h. If you see the Turbo C compiler, you will see inside the compiler folder, you will see there is one include folder. Inside this include folder, there are different header files. So we are including here only the standard input output header file, which is responsible for taking input and printing output. Means for printed and scanned, we need this standard input output header file. Okay. So this is preprocessor. So what is happening if I write this preprocessor? What is happening when so preprocessor means, since see this printed function is a C or library function. So whenever we are compiling, we have not defined this printf. So when we are compiling, before compilation, so before compilation, this printf will be replaced by its original definition. Replaced by its original definition. So that's why this hash or preprocessor is used. So preprocessor, what is the purpose of the preprocessor? Preprocessor will replace the header files or any other, say, hash defined, you have defined something, it will preprocessor will replace all those things with its proper definition, original definition. It will replace the thing with its original definition. So although this C program having only a single line code, see, only a print a single line code, but if you compile it, you will see there are, say, 102 lines. How this 102 lines are coming? This 102 lines are coming because this preprocessor is copying the original definition of printf into this main function. That's why the line of execution will be increased. Okay, so that's why this is the meaning of preprocessor. I will show you. So this is the meaning of preprocessor. Then I have already told you in last class that main function is very important. It is an user-defined function, but a special kind of user-defined function, because each and every C program should have start with main function. Okay. Now before this main function, we are writing something that is called int. Now to understand why we are writing int, we have to go back to see what is the syntax of a function. So you have to understand what is the syntax of a function, how to write a function. The syntax of a function, see it carefully. First you have to write the return type, okay, then you have to give a function name, okay, then the function symbol. Inside the function symbol you have to write data type, then argument 1, comma data type with argument 2, comma, dot, 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 like this. And then within this braces, you have to write the definition. So within this brace, you have to write the definition of the function. So this is the syntax of writing a function. Now, what is the meaning of this return type? Now, remember one thing, in case of C or Java or C++, any function are able to return, any function able to return only a single value. Remember this, single value. If you want to return more than one value from a function, it is not possible in C. You can only return a single value. Only a single value can be returned. Remember this. So, what is the type of the value? If suppose I am returning the age of a person, I am returning the age of a person. Now, age will be always in integer. So, return type for this age will be int. So, here return type means the data type of the return value or variable. The data type of the, so return type means the data type of the return variable. That is the meaning of this return type. Then you have to write a function name. If it is user defined, you have to give a name for this function. Then these are called arguments. These are called arguments. Generally, these arguments are called actual arguments. Okay. Sorry, these are called formal arguments in case of definition. And when we are calling, those are called actual arguments. So how to write the arguments? First you have to give the data type and then you have to argument name. So like this. Suppose I am writing a function to add two integer numbers. So the function name is add. So it will take two input. One is integer A, another is integer B. Okay, and it will return one single value, that is the sum of these two integer values, and the sum will be also integer, so return type is int. Then inside the function, what is the definition? Return sum of these two, A plus B. That's all. So see, this is the return type. This is the function name. This is argument 1. This is the data type of the argument. This is the argument name. This is another argument data type. This is another argument name. In this way, you can write any number of arguments giving a comma. Giving a comma, you can write any number of arguments. Okay. You can see there is another interesting things. You can use 3 dots, which is called ellipse, which is for any number of arguments. The meaning of this 3 dot is ellipse, and it is used to take any number of arguments. I will discuss about this later. So this is the means. So this main function is the name of the function, user defined, and I already told normally main will take 2 arguments. One is integer, and they have some specific name, argv, argc. Those who already done C language, I hope they know this. The first one is integer, number of arguments, and second was the argument itself. Okay, so I'm not discussing right now. So main, this for argument representation, and this is the return. Now the question is, what main will return? This is very important question in case of any interview. What is the return of a main? So, and before that, you have to understand that whenever we are defining any function, it must be called. Okay. Now see, I have told you in the last class one example, that suppose I have to submit the electricity bill. So let us discuss about this interesting. This is very interesting. Suppose I want to submit the electricity bill. So main, I am the main function. So I have to submit the electricity bill. For electricity bill, what are the arguments? The bill is one argument, then the money you have to pay. So these two are the arguments. Now I am not going to submit the electricity bill. So what I am doing, I am calling a person. So suppose person is Avijit. So I am calling Avi. Okay, and I am passing him with this bill and money. Okay, so he will queue in the counter, then he will submit the bill, then he will take the receipt, and what he will return me, he will return the receipt. Am I clear? He will return me the receipt. So the return type receipt, it will be returned to me. So what I am doing, I am calling Avi to submit the bill. I am passing the arguments to him. These are the arguments. So these are the meaning of arguments. So arguments mean for that particular function to submit the electricity bill, what are the requirement? For a particular function, what are the requirement? So for this add function, what are the requirement? I have to add two integer variables. That's why I have passed them. Okay, then what should be the return value? The return value is after submitting the electricity bill, he will submit me the receipt that he has successfully submitted. That is very important. So the return means, the return type means it is challenging that or guaranteeing that he had successfully submitted the electricity bill. If I see the receipt, then I can guarantee that he had submitted the electricity bill. So similarly, when main is called, now the question is who is calling the main function? That is very important. So when main is called, main is also have to submit that he has successfully completed the task. That's why he is always return integer value. Am I clear? So main is returning whether he had successfully completed the task to print this. If he successfully complete this task, he will return a value, generally return 0. We write return 0. 0 stands for successfully completed. Now the question is, who is calling main? Remember, operating system is calling main. We are pressing the compile button. We are pressing the run button. We are pressing the run button, or we are pressing this is, and then dot slash a dot out. We are writing it. Okay. Then, so we are giving this instruction to whom? We are giving this instruction to operating system. And operating system, according to this instruction, he is calling the compiler. Okay. So this main function is giving the reply to the operating system. Operating system is calling the main function, and main function is returning some integer value to the operating system to represent that he has successfully completed the job. And then inside the function there is a printf statement. You have to print it. You have to print it in the hardware. Now let us move and see how we can write a simple C code. So I will show you in different ways. See, this is Turbo C compiler. I am using Turbo C compiler. So int main. Okay. Now in case of Turbo C compiler, there are few things you have to remember. The first thing is you have to use some clear screen clr command or function to clear the previously used screen, and then our printf, simple printf. So the syntax of printf is printf, then format string. So this is the format string, and since we are not printing any values, so we are just writing hello inside this. And then in case of Turbo C, we have to write another interesting thing that is called get ch. Okay. Now see, in case of GCC compiler, you don't require this get ch or clear screen. The reason is, in case of Turbo C, the same screen, this same screen will be used for both printing the output and the same screen will be used to printing the output and to give you the editor and output, both will be in same screen. So that's why this get ch means nothing. Get ch means it is some input character type. So such, just like scanf, it will take some input from the user. Now what type of input it will take? It will take a character. So until you give a character, it will not, it will wait or it will hold the output stream. Okay, now see, just save it. Suppose I'm naming it OCC2.c. I'm saving it with .c extension. Okay, then Alt C for compilation. Okay, now why this warning is coming? The warning is coming because your main function should return one value. I have written is int now, so it should return one value. So I have to write it return 0. So now again save, then Alt C. Okay, compile 7 lines. See, 7 line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. Okay, next run. So this is the output. Hello. See, until I press, it will not return. Okay. Now, if I don't use this get ch, what will happen? If I don't use this get ch, okay. Now see, are you able to see the output? No, you are not able to see the output because the same screen is used for editor and output. So this get ch means it will wait for a character input. Until you give a character, it will in the output screen. See, again I am running, so you are not able to see anything. But when I am removing, or this double backslash means, I am converting this function in a as a comment line. So to make it comment line, we can use this. Sorry, Alt C, Alt C, Alt R. Okay. Now see. So see, when I am saved it as .c, no requirement of hash include. But if I use hash include stdio.h and I use Alt F to save as, say, OCC3.cpp. Okay. Now see what happened. So it is showing error. See how many lines it is running. Is it clear? I have written only 7 or 8 lines, but it is compiling 313 lines. Why? Why this 313 lines? Because after this preprocessor hash include, it is copying the definition of printf inside this main function. That's why the line is increased. I have to use another thing, hash include conio.h for console input output. The CLR SCR, this is under this conio.h. So I have to use this also. Now see how many lines. I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But it is compiling 464. How this 464 lines are coming? Because this due to this preprocessor. What is the purpose of the preprocessor? Preprocessor will copy the definition of printf into this main function, then definition of CLR SCR into this main function, then the definition of getStage into this main function. All this definition will be copied here before the compilation. That's why the line of compilation is increased. By using, when you are using hash include all those things, the line of compilation will be automatically increased. Now from this you can understand that printf scanf is not a...
Sir,
Yes.
sir, could you please explain this once again?
Which one?
सर यही मतलब ये लाइन मतलब 464 क्यों शो कर रहा था?
हाँ, देखिए पहले जब हम लोग यूज कर रहे थे तब वी हैव नॉट यूज दिस हैश इंक्लूड, करेक्ट, and
ओके
at
सर.
the, at that time it is showing only the 7 lines. But now we have included, now we have added this hash include. Now I have already told you what is the meaning of this preprocessor. Preprocessor means, see, I have already discussed the definition or meaning of preprocessor. What is the meaning of preprocessor? It is here. So the meaning of preprocessor is there is the meaning of preprocessor. Preprocessor will, what preprocessor will do? Preprocessor will copy the original definition. It will copy the original definition into the code. For printf, its definition is written in standard input output header file. This definition copied. So suppose this is for 117 lines. Suppose I am not exactly know what is the size of printf function. Suppose it is 117. So here already the 117 lines are copied. Suppose I am using another function scanf. For scanf, suppose 120 lines are required. So 120 lines of scanf definition will be copied here. So in this way, the lines are increasing. That's why when we are going to this, when we are going to compile this, instead of writing only 9 lines, we are able to see that there are 464 lines. How these 464 lines are coming? Due to this preprocessor. What the purpose of the preprocessor? Preprocessor is copying all the definition required for this printf, clrscr and getch. That's why the number of lines are increasing. Okay. Now I
Thank
hope
you, sir.
now it is clear. I hope so. Okay. Now
Sir,
so bolo.
why we are saving this in .cpp extension?
Sorry,
Why we
dots.
are saving the code in .cpp extension?
In case of,
.cpp
see, this is,
extension.
yeah.
Why we are
This
saving this?
this is a Turbo C++ compiler. Okay, this is if you see that this is Turbo C++. Are you able to see? See, this is Turbo C3. It is Turbo C++ here. Turbo C++. So this compiler is for
Yes.
C++.
So in
So by default, it will store in .cpp extension. When I am storing it by writing .c, then no need for any header file. Those header files will be automatically included. Am I clear? If I save my file in Turbo C++ with .c extension, the header files will be automatically included. No need to write it exclusively. But when we are writing .cpp, for cpp there are other input output. Those are called iostream.h. Okay, so here we are using printf scanf. In cpp it will be C in C out. That's why we have to use iostream.h. But since we are using printf scanf, the definition of printf scanf, since printf scanf are library function, the definition of printf scanf are stored in standard input output header file. So that's why when we are storing it .cpp extension, I have to use the header file. See what happened if I don't use the header file. Suppose I am not using this header file. I am storing it in .cpp, saving it in .cpp. Then if I compile it, it will give me error. See the error? Error is function printf should have a prototype. Means it is not able to find the definition of the printf function. Why? Because I have omitted or I have made it as a comment. This line is not executing. So that's why if I store it in .c, no need of header files. Logic clear? So that's why it is happening. Okay. So,
yes, sir. Understood.
so get back to this. So we are. So I hope now it is clear what is the meaning of this hash include, int main, then what is the meaning of printf, and then what it is printing. Okay. Now how to write a function, how to call a function. What is the meaning of function? So function is